Hello, welcome back, tuning into today's video. Going to have a look at the weather next week to 10 days. In today's video, this will take us to around the 17th of August. So we're going into the second half of the month now with the week to 10 day update. Summer is ticking on very quickly now, of course. So, got some very wet weather coming up in the next couple of days. We'll start off having a quick look at that, but I think we'll actually do rain watch tomorrow. That'll be tomorrow's first video where we'll have a detailed look at the situation in terms of wet weather through Tuesday and Wednesday. So that'll be the first video that's uploaded tomorrow, but we'll have a quick look at it for today's video, and then we'll go on and have a look at weather for the next week to 10 days. So we'll start off with the facts charts. These are the human interpretations of models by the forecasters at the UK Met Office. This is the facts chart for midday tomorrow. See a very unsettled scenario. We've got an area of low pressure centred really over the Low Countries and Germany, but its fronts are wrapped around this low pressure, and one of the fronts is impacting the British Isles, kind of included there through particularly England and Wales, and particularly the eastern side of England and Wales. Now, if we go on another 24 hours, we go to midday Wednesday, you see there's been very little development. So this is a near stationary front here that's stuck across eastern and southeastern parts of the country. That will be producing a lot of heavy rain Tuesday to Wednesday. There might be thunder mixed in with that as well. But we will have a look at it in more detail tomorrow. But you can imagine that just purely because of the longevity of this, there is going to be some high rainfall totals clocking up across some eastern and southeastern parts of the country from this occlusion that really is stuck stationary across eastern and southeastern regions. Just have a quick look at a high resolution model. So this is the high res WRF model. This is a precipitation forecast. We're starting 3 o'clock this afternoon, where we've already got showers across Scotland and Northern Ireland, some showers across southern parts of England as well. And as we run through the course of the evening, what we find is that those showers become more widespread in the south. Some quite heavy showers, maybe a little bit thundery there, across some parts of the Midlands, central southern England, into the Syria, heading off in towards East Anglia at that point as well. Overnight, the shower risk does ease down, but then we find more general rain starting to break out into tomorrow morning. So this is taking us up to midday tomorrow, where you see showers are breaking out through the course of the afternoon, if not longer spells of rain developing here quite widely across England and Wales, but not covering all places. So it will be a little bit showery in nature, but these showery bursts will get increasingly heavy through the course of tomorrow. Some big showers possible then. And then as we go through into Wednesday, this is to 5 o'clock in the morning Wednesday, you see we've got more general rain starting to pile in from the North Sea in towards eastern counties and down into the Midlands as well. And then through the course of Wednesday morning, it's just pouring with rain here across much of the eastern, southeast England, into the East Midlands, some central southern parts of England and Wales as well, some central parts, southern parts of England. So pouring with rain through the morning in the east and the southeast on Wednesday. Very gradually through the afternoon and evening, that rain gets pushed away to the southeast. It takes a long time to go. It's not really until Thursday, but it clears the very, very far southeastern part of the country. So a couple of days of really quite wet weather coming up Tuesday and Wednesday, particularly focused on the south and the east. And as I say, we'll have a more in-depth look at this tomorrow. Tomorrow's first video will be Rain Watch, where we'll get 2 or 3 separate models together and see what they are all showing. But potentially some quite high rainfall totals in 48 hours from Tuesday to Thursday morning. Right, weather next week, 10 days. Then we've got the 500 millibar high anomaly flow charts here. The Eastern Earth is on the top, the GFS is on the bottom. We'll have a look at it in a moment. 500 millibar centimetres feet is an area in the absolute high pressure, low pressure, are being moved around by the jet stream running above. Blue extrapolates to low pressure, and red and orange extrapolates to high pressure. So the coming sort of week to 10 days, as I say, this takes us into the second half of August. The coming week to 10 days shows below average heights in the Atlantic and bringing the flow through from the Atlantic as well, with jet stream indicated by black lines there, coming across the Atlantic into Europe as well. It looks generally westerly set up, and it looks quite unsettled as well. That's the ECNF. This is the GFS, and again we find we've got below average heights up to the northeast. We've got the jet stream coming across the Atlantic and into Europe like that. It's perhaps not quite as unsettled as we have had it in recent weeks. The below average heights, blue area, being more restricted away to the northeast. So at least to the south anyway, there should be some dry conditions at times through this middle phase of August, but it's not truly settling down. There's no sign of a ridge, an area of above average height such as we see over there in Canada. There's no sign of that kind of large ridge developing around the UK and Western Europe. So yes, it might not be quite as unsettled through this middle phase of August, but still overall a changeable and rather unsettled pattern, and not truly settling down. So you can see this on the GFS ensembles. We've got the red line here, which is the 30-year upper air temperature average. We're going to be cooler than average over the next few days, running up to the end of the week. Then we start to turn a little bit milder or a little bit warmer at the very end of the week and into the weekend. And that leads us into a period around the middle part of the month. That's its period just here. It leads us into an interlude of near average upper air temperatures, which down on the surface, because of the strength of the sun, it could be pleasantly warm. But you see, there's no sign that we're going up to this sort of level with the temperature. We're not going into sort of very warm or hot weather, just a little bit warmer compared to what we've had through the first week to 10 days of August, and near normal with the temperatures overall. Now, to get through to the second half of the month, that's this period just here, a lot of scatter still in there, but again, no definitive sign of anything particularly warm coming up. Now, all these precipitation spikes just here are associated with that very wet weather Tuesday and Wednesday. So you get the idea that this is the ensemble of London. You get the idea that there is going to be a lot of rain in the east and the southeast of the country in the 48 hours from Tuesday through to Wednesday, and we will focus on this in detail in a video on its own with Rain Watch tomorrow. Beyond that, well, we have got showery burst country, but obviously it is drier. So this is our interlude as we run up to the middle part of the month, where it's not truly settling down, but it is, at least to the south anyway, turning somewhat drier and more settled. In the north and west, probably staying unsettled. And then maybe as we go into the second half of the month, we might be seeing signs that rainfall spikes are beginning to reappear. But that's a very long way off, and I don't want to go too far with that one. So I think middle of August, a few days ago, it looked like middle of August was going to be a return to summer. We're not going to get a return to summer, but we are going to get a return to something slightly warmer and slightly drier, especially so for the south and the southeast. These are the surface temperatures, and also looking at pressure as well. This is for Birmingham. So we've got 20 degrees just here. Again, these are GFS ensembles, dealing with surface temperatures first of all. So we've got 20 degrees being signalled just there, and in August, of course, 20 degrees in Birmingham, going to be a little bit cooler than average. So you get the idea that we are cooler than average with the GFS ensembles at the moment. As we run up to the middle part of the month, that's this period just here, no real sign of a recovery in the temperature. We're still flatlining around that 20 degree mark. Second half of the month, we might start to lift things up to slightly warmer category then, but even so, even then into the second half of the month, still nothing definitively warm, no sign of going up to 25-30 degrees. In terms of pressure, so this is where we're starting off at around 1,020 millibars. Pressure going to drop over the next couple of days with all this wet weather coming in from the east. And then after that, again, no real sign that we're going into high pressure. So yes, pressure does rise a little bit at the end of the week and into weekend. That's a rising pressure just there, before perhaps falling again a little bit as we go up to the middle part of the month, and just sort of flatlining again around 1,020 millibars. So there's no sign of lifting the pressure up to that sort of level, getting high pressure coming in. There's no sign of lifting the temperature up to a particularly warm or hot level up there either. So it looks like, yes, it will turn a little bit warmer and drier in the south-southeast, but not definitively settled by any means. Temperature anomalies for next week, going from the 7th to the 15th of August, coming out cooler than average for many parts of northwestern Europe. The British Isles and Ireland is included in that. Precipitation anomalies from the 7th to 15th of August. Wetter than average for the southeast of the country. That's all because of the rain coming up over the next couple of days. Further north and west, so it's close to average, maybe a little bit on the dry and average side for Ireland. In America, the east-west split that we had all summer continues, so western parts of the states coming out hotter than average, eastern parts of the states and central areas from the breadbasket coming out cooler than average. That has been the case throughout the whole of the summer. The rainfall anomalies look like this, very wet down in the south, so that's quite unusually so. Even around states like Texas, we're coming out with significantly above average rainfall from the 7th to the 15th of August. And many southeastern parts of America, going up the eastern seaboard, coming out a bit wetter than average as well. Further north, it's a bit drier than average around the Great Lakes and going up towards the Canadian border. It's also looking drier than average across much of California. But I think the bulk of the country is actually coming out a little bit on the wetter side for the next week. Back closer to home, and let's just pull the charts out. So this is the GFS for Thursday, when we've got rid of that low pressure, going to bring the deluge Tuesday and Wednesday. That's gone off into the North Sea, and we're into this northwesterly flow on Thursday. It'll be a better day, I think, for many of us on Thursday. Into Friday, low pressure coming back to Scotland, bringing some rain through there, although England and Wales should have a fair amount of dry weather. The weekend is looking a bit of a mixed bag. I would have thought the south does get some drier conditions at times, but still a bit on the showery side up in the north, and probably quite coolish in the north as well, but the southeast could be fairly warm over weekend. The early part of next week, again, we're trying to build some pressure into the south, but really pressure remains weak up to the north, some showery bursts coming through then. And then a little bit of a ridge starts to build across the country from the middle part of the week, brings perhaps a couple of dry days, but watch out for this area of low pressure that's lurking down to the southwest, because that starts to push in as go out beyond day 10, go to Friday the 18th of August. That's a low pressure. It's bringing some very unsettled conditions in from off the Atlantic. So this is our drier slot. It isn't amounting to too much, I have to say. Yes, pressure is sort of rising from the Azores a little bit, particularly for the south. We get a few days of somewhat drier and warmer conditions, but compared to the kind of return to summer that looked like we might get a couple of days ago, not amounting to too much. And as we go into the second half of August, this low pressure is threatening to return us back into a very unsettled weather pattern. That's GFS. ECDF looks like this. So again, showery, quite cool northwesterly winds the Thursday into Friday and the weekend. So a bit of a north-south split. The south will have some drier and warmer conditions at times, but the north looks like keeping it unsettled into the weekend. The early part of next week, we are making a little bit more of this ridge here with the ECMWF. So by the time we get through to Monday, that is bringing mostly dry weather to nearly all parts of the country, actually. So that looks a little bit better. But by Tuesday, it looks like it's all going rather showery once again. And then on Wednesday, trying to get another little ridge going to the south, but we've still got low pressure downstream in the Atlantic. And as we run into the extended period, this takes us to day 10. Thursday, 17th of August. Well, this looks rather ominous. We've got low pressure there. We've got low pressure there. There's nothing really to stop it pushing through. So if we could go on another 24 hours, I dare say we would be in a proper wet and windy type situation. So the models are a bit of a mixed bag. We are going to get a few days, particularly for the south, of drier and warmer weather, starting from around Thursday, going through the weekend and into the early part of next week. So we might get 5 or 6 days of dryish conditions to the south, if we're very lucky, and it will be a little bit warmer through this period as well. The north never really gets into that, I don't think. So for northern areas, it remains quite unsettled over weekend and into next week. And then towards the latter stage of next week, actually, if we take the GFS and the ECNEF at face value, by day 10, so into the second half of next week, it does look as though the weather is rapidly deteriorating again and more low pressure is coming back in, bringing wet and windy conditions. So no real return to summer, but it might turn a little bit drier and warmer in the south for a few days at the end of the week, over weekend, and in the start of next week as well. Right, tomorrow we'll have the rain watch. As I say, I'll have a detailed look at the wet weather for Tuesday and the Wednesday as well. And, of course, we'll have our regular daily update as well for you tomorrow. Right, that's all now. Thanks for watching.